Hey, welcome back. You're back with She the People. We're going to talk to Shahida today about where she's been for the past month and a half or so, and the journey she's been on and still on, and, family stuff. So buckle up and thanks for joining us. Dive into where you've been for the past couple months.
Mhm.
And and how that has maybe shaped new perspectives.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on a journey.
You were on a journey and it started in Mexico.
It did. Yes. And I
Yeah,
think like metaphysically, I'm still on that journey and
totally.
will be for a while.
Totally. Did you see your therapist yet?
No, I'm going to see her tomorrow.
Darn.
I
That'll
know.
be good.
Yeah. But this will prep me for the things I want to talk about.
So, where were you?
That was like an abrupt segue. Oh my goodness. Okay. I just need to get my head back into this topic. Okay. I'll just start with a couple months
Mexico. You
ago.
went to Mexico.
Yeah, I know. But a couple of months ago, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and it had already spread to his lungs and his liver. And this is a person who was a lifetime smoker. He was 79 when diagnosed. And we feel like he's had a pretty good run, actually.
Yeah,
And this
that's
is,
pretty good.
yeah, yeah, for someone who smoked heavily throughout his life. And I've always known him to be a smoker. And I was always the one to tell him that he should quit smoking. Even when I was little, I knew all the risks that were involved in with smoking, all the health risks. So this sort of might have even influenced my trajectory in my interests
Public
in
health.
smoking
Yeah.
cessation, in public health, in tobacco control. Like I have a history, a very large part of my career it was in tobacco cessation. My dissertation was on tobacco cessation. So I don't doubt that there was some early influence. And this was when I was 5, he left and had to go back to Malaysia. So maybe rewind. My family immigrated to the US from Malaysia because my Baba was getting his doctorate at Penn State. That's why we ended up in Pennsylvania. And then I was born, my little sister was born. And at some point, he wasn't finishing his PhD. So the Malaysian government that funded his education told him that he needed to come back. And I was 5 at the time when he left. And my parents came up with this plan for my mom to stay in the US so that us kids could be raised and educated in the United States because the United States was still seen as this land of opportunity. Right. And so I think my father had no choice but to go back to Malaysia. And he left his wife and 4 small children, like aged, let's see, like 12 to 1, the 4 of us in Pennsylvania. And there was some communication. There was like a few years where he would send me Malaysian pop star cassette tapes and birthday cards, and we'd call him on the phone and send letters and things. And I remember he visited when I was 7, and we would see him when we went to Malaysia, but it was very few and far between. And as we got older and my parents divorced and he remarried and had children of his own, like our relationship became non-existent. And fast forward in time when my father is dying of cancer and my entire family, all of my siblings are coming up with an idea to go and pay our respects and to say goodbye before he passes. I was a little reluctant to go to Malaysia and put in this so much effort to pay my respects to someone I don't really even have a relationship with. So there were some feelings there. Anyway,
As an adult, had you reconnected with him at all?
yeah, as an adult, if when we go back to Malaysia, which is every 4 years plus, we'll have dinner with him and we'll invite my half brothers. I have 3 half brothers and their mom. and we'll have dinner. And that is like the extent of it. And it's mostly a sign of or a show of respect. He's still my father. He gave me life. There's a lot of culturally, there's that expectation. And so my family, my brother lives in Malaysia, and then my three siblings, my three sisters, we decided we were going to go to Malaysia in January. I had plans with my own family to be in Mexico. And so we were going to spend New Year's Eve in Seattle. We were going to fly back in Seattle. I was going to have 1 day turnaround time to do laundry at my mom's. And then I was going to get on a plane again on January 2nd to go see him. While we were in Mexico, we were having a great time, but I'm getting updates from my half brothers that he's now in stage 4 kidney failure and he's in the hospital and has to do dialysis. And there are all these complications. And he wasn't tolerating being in the hospital very well and wanted to go home. And they were trying to give him a feeding tube and all of these things. And I'm like, okay, things are rapidly. I need to get back to Malaysia if I want to see him before he passes. And not only see him before he passes, I would like to have a conversation with him. Because I feel like there are things that I did want to say. And so I changed my flight. I left from Mexico, flew to Malaysia. My brother picked me up New Year's Day. My half brother, the eldest of his sons, also arrived at the airport that same day. So we drove to his town to go and to see him. And it was my brother in the car. He was like, because my brother had been with him at the hospital and he's seen sort of his health deteriorate and seen the whole process of that. He was trying to warn me that he's in really poor shape. Prepare yourself for how weak and scary he looks, basically. And so we arrive at his house. I'm expecting the worst. My Baba is actually in really good spirits. He has like energy. He's like talking. He's laughing. He's so happy to see me. The first thing he says to me is, I want your forgiveness. And I'm like, yeah, of course you have it. And my brother's, yeah, there's nothing to say about that. I want your forgiveness. He actually said the words, I didn't think about my responsibilities to you. And that was more than I expected. I didn't know what to expect. I have no idea what I was expecting, what he would say, how honest we could be. And he just comes out and says it. He completely unburdens himself. There are other things that he wanted to get off his chest and acknowledged all sorts of things. Like for my older siblings, I wasn't abused the way that they were. Culturally, corporal punishment is a thing in Malaysia. And I think for many of that generation, getting the belt out type of thing. But he terrorized my 2 older siblings. And apparently the eldest of his sons got a lot of whoopings as well. I was really young. I don't really remember that. But he actually acknowledged those things, that he was a tyrant and he was a really angry person. And it was the reflection that he expressed and the self-reflection and the things that I think he was thinking about and going over in his mind as in his state, really surprised me. And I don't know if
I
you've
wonder when
experienced that.
yeah, yeah. I wonder when it started, for him. I can tell you, I do tell people in little ways, but yeah, people that are dying generally, their regrets are that type of thing. I wish I would have been better to my family. I wish I would have spent more time with my kid. I wish I would have. The regrets in general are loving regrets that people feel bad about
Yeah.
things that they've done to their children or to
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're not a total sociopath.
Right. Exactly. And I think he was expressing some of those regrets even earlier. We were in Malaysia, I don't know, a couple of
It
years
wasn't
ago.
that long ago.
Yeah. I think it was a couple of years ago. And honestly, I don't fully remember. Maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago. And I had dinner
I
with
think
my
it
Baba.
wasn't. Yeah.
And he said to me, because my little sister had just seen him and had dinner with him. I think my older sister a year before had been in Malaysia and seen him and had dinner with him. And he was like, I could tell he was really thankful that we still wanted to engage with him. And he
Yeah.
told me, what makes me sad every time you and your sisters, every time you come to Malaysia, you always make a point to see your Baba. And I'm like, yeah, of course. We want to do that. And it's not like a duty thing. I don't know what it is, but even in his absence, there is presence.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a father to you.
Yeah. And for my older
It,
sister, it's the only father she's ever had because my mom remarried and I had a stepdad. But at a very fundamental level, I can appreciate the very fact that he gave me life and the way that I live and the fact that I'm an American has everything to do with him. That he brought us to the US, that we grew up in Pennsylvania, that we're Penn State
yeah.
fans. Like these are like all
Little
little,
things.
they can be little, they can be big things. But there's
Yeah.
so much of him in me too that I've known for a long time. Like I like to sing and I like to whistle, and there's no one else in my family that does that. It's just my Baba and me. Just the simple fact that I can see myself in him and be reminded that like I'm half him is pretty powerful and is reason enough to make the effort. Even if I had feelings about it. And being a child at 5 years old and losing your father and not having anything explained to you is pretty traumatic
Yeah.
and it has lasting impacts on a person's life. I'll just tell you that much. As a parent myself,
Yeah.
that takes the time to explain things, to bring my son along on decisions that we're making, to give him a lot of information and a lot of security and a lot of comfort and is concerned about his comfort at all times. Like it was just so wild to me that my parents didn't think that this was going to impact us in a very large way throughout our lives. And even to this day, my
Yes.
mom doesn't really think that these things impact us. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's a generational thing.
I was just going to ask, like, in Malaysian culture, like the Hispanic family unit is so important, right?
Mhm.
Like, I've been invited to Hispanic people's houses to make tamales and stuff, and you go, and it's full of
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
And this is my aunt, this is my cousins, this is my grandfather, this is my great grandfather. Is it like that in Malaysia?
Yeah. I think I only know my mom's side of the family. Really, I have more memories and more of a relationship with my mom's side of the family. And every time we come back to Malaysia, yeah, it's like it feels like a family reunion. And it feels like there's a lot of
Yeah,
love and they're cousins all over the place. And mind you, I think we are the only ones of our family that live abroad, that have lived all of our lives away from the family unit. So in Malaysia, everyone's there. They leave to go to college, maybe they leave for medical school, maybe a job. They always come back. And for us, we've been considered the lost cousins that moved to the US and just never came back. And who knows what we're up to.
yeah. Can I tell it that, so when you were asking about people later doing this degree and then nursing in general, then you have to learn about like Erickson's stages of development and Freud and all that stuff. This one has connected with me, Erickson's stages of development, and the last stage, which is 65 to death. I feel
Mm.
like it could be earlier though, is integrity versus despair. And it's integrity is feeling satisfied with your life and accepting how it was lived. And despair involves regret and disappointment when looking back on life. And people face integrity or despair in their later years by reflecting on their past experiences. And I definitely see that a lot with older people, or just, yeah, people that are in that like death stage of reflecting, hearing stories, just thinking about their entirety of their life. And did I live a good life?
Mm.
What regrets do I have, basically?
Yeah.
And then they like process that. And so, probably not only did you give him a lot to be able to say those things, because we don't know what happens when you die, to you, but then you also got to receive something from him that
Yeah.
was pretty profound.
Yeah. Yeah. And my friend called it a gift. What a gift you gave your father to give him the opportunity to tell you those things. Cause I was pretty reluctant. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to change my holiday and we're all going to go to Malaysia for 7 days, 10 days. This is crazy. I don't even know if he wants to see us. That was my thought. I was like, I don't even think maybe we shouldn't intrude. Like, he has a family. Like, clearly he's moved on.
Oh, yeah.
He has a
Yeah.
wife and 3 boys, and I was like, "Let them be. Let them have their moment." And then my older sister's like, "Shahida, no, like, we're his family. We should go do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." Right? And then when he was in the hospital, we thought that it was like he was done. Like, things were just escalating so quickly and his health was failing so quickly that I was like, wow, maybe we just won't even make it. And his wife told him in the hospital, like, your daughters are coming. Your daughters are coming to see you. Like, you got to hold on. And he was like, okay, I'm going to hold on.
Yeah.
And they wanted to give him like a feeding tube. They wanted to put a tube down into his stomach to give him nutrition. And he was just like
No.
gagging. He said it was horrible. It was torture. He wasn't responding well to it. And as bad as that was, he was like, okay, I'll do it because my daughters are coming. And I have to hold on. I have to make it. I'll do the things that the doctors want me to do just because I want to be able to see them. And that was really powerful to me. I didn't know that was at all going through his mind. And then, so when I heard that, they didn't do it, by the way. Like, he tried and it just couldn't, they couldn't. It was not successful. But I was like, he tried. That seems like a pretty big step. And after that happened, I was like, okay, I'll change my flight. That literally was like the moment where I was like, okay, he does. He wants to see us. I'm going to change my flight. I'm going to go. I'm journaling. I told you a little bit, like, I just can't believe that as a parent, and Justin and I talk about us all the time, like, how can you leave your family? How can you like not be with your children and then just like live life knowing that they're living apart from you, that you're not involved in their lives and that they're going to have families that you're not involved in. It was crazy to me that he would be okay with that. And actually, after this trip, I was able to, and in my adult brain, now with perspective, I do feel like I can see how hard that would be. And I can give him compassion and I can be sympathetic to the position that he was in. I don't think he chose to leave. He had to leave. It's sad to me. It makes me sad because it was probably very hard for him. And I never saw that as a child. I only thought about what was happening to me. And I didn't even understand it because no one explained it to me. No one explained what was going on. And then I
So
actually
hard
asked
for,
him, what's that?
yeah. It's hard for kids or for teenagers to be able to think about what our parents went through. I think that doesn't happen until later in life.
Yeah.
When you think about things that happened in your childhood and then start to think about things that happened to your parents, and that's why they acted in certain ways or why they do certain things.
Yeah.
It's a later development maturation thing.
No, I agree. I agree. Because I wasn't able to see that. And in fact, I didn't even have to think about it. It was just the narrative that I told myself that, oh, he left and didn't think about us and moved on and had another family and basically replaced us.
And those things are all true,
Yeah,
you
and those
know?
can be
I
true.
mean, that's how you felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, I can see how that would be very difficult for him. And actually,
I think that
when we were by his bedside, we actually got to know his wife very well in this time. We were talking a lot, and I've never spent as much time as I have with her or my half brothers. And so we really got to know each other. And so that is a gift also that we were able to give ourselves, is this relationship. And she said that she told us the story that when they got married and she had their first boy, right when he was born, he told her, I'm going to take you to your parents' house and you're going to be fine. You're going to be with your family. I have to go to the US and see my kids. And that was the trip that I'd mentioned before where he came back when I was 7. And the timeline is also very fuzzy to me because I was so young. I don't really remember when he left and when he came back and when my parents divorced, because actually they never told me. It just happened. All the things. It just never, there was just zero information given to the children that I wish we had. I wish they'd sat
I
us down and
honestly
told us, this is what's going to happen.
don't you think? I mean, I see people do this all the time. Don't you too? I see people don't tell the kids or they're too young to hear that. And I ask what age they are. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they already know what's going on.
Right. Or
And
if they don't, they're
and
filling in the blanks with their own story. And who knows? I could have felt like I was the reason he left.
yeah.
That could have been something that I carried with me my whole life, and it wouldn't have been true, right? And so please just give your children the information. They can handle so much more than you
Yeah.
think. They're so much more resilient than you think.
And they have ideas and questions for you. And it's so important to have with kids, even that are 5. There's a conversation still to be had there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, we're going to get a divorce. But
But
it
even
could be the
still, you
truth.
should say that. You should tell them we're
Yeah. Like,
getting a divorce.
yeah.
Hey, mom.
They just,
Go on.
I watch people all the time, having been around many children, I watch people all the time tiptoe around what they should tell their kids. And maybe I've already had a conversation with their child and I'm like, dude, they already know. They told me about what you're thinking about telling them. So I'm pretty sure they have an idea.
Yeah.
And it's better to come from the parent. That's what the kids want. That's what their child wants, is to hear it from their own parent.
Yeah. I don't know there's just so many things as a parent where I'm like, wow, could have used that information.
Would have been helpful.
It would have been really helpful for everyone. Like my mom, they got divorced. I didn't know it. At some point, my mom wanted to get married again. And I was like, but what about Baba? And I thought they were still married.
Yeah.
You didn't. This is bizarre that wouldn't have known this. It's so crazy to me. It's like they don't think that we need the information either. But I think it's like that generation or whatever, culturally, my mom also thinks like things that happen in your childhood are very separate from things that you're doing as an adult, your adult life and your childhood life.
She should take some childhood education courses, development courses.
Honestly, I think she still thinks that. And
I know this is not true. Things that happen in our childhoods shape who we are.
absolutely, 100%. I told her this story, and I don't know if I told you this, but I was talking about a friend who has struck out in love and dates a guy for a while and falls in love, and then it just never works out, and is still looking. She's older than us, and she's still looking. And my mom is like, why doesn't she just want to be by herself? And I'm like, well, she lost her father died when she was 5, and she I think that she is always wanting the love of a man. There's
Yeah.
a void that she's trying to fill, that she's always looking for and wanting the love and security and validation of a man's love. And my mom said, when I was like telling her this, she said, but that happened to you and that's not you. That didn't happen to you. And I was like, that is 100% me.
Exactly. You're like, have you met me?
I was like, hello, think about it. I know what she's feeling because I feel that.
Totally.
And she was like,
Yeah.
oh, like it was a surprise. Like she was like, really? I like, that is totally me.
Yeah.
That's my sisters. That's
Probably
that's
because
all of us.
you've had, yeah, you've had mostly successful long-term relationships with
Yeah.
men. That's, I think people look at it, it's, yeah, but they weren't necessarily what you wanted or what you needed,
No, because I was very
but you were
confused.
maybe filling a void.
Definitely,
Yeah.
100%. No, I was like a serial
Monogamous.
long-term relationship.
Monogamer.
Yeah. I was like I love commitment.
You do.
I love it.
You do
I
love it.
will get out of a relationship and get right back into a relationship.
Yes, you will.
That is
In a
like
serious way.
and very serious. And it's not like we haven't made mistakes. I was like, is this love? I guess this is love. I'm like trying to figure it out. Thankfully, and I can say this confidently with my even all of my sisters too, that we found lasting, loving, stable relationships and marriages. And that is
Yeah.
not a given.
Yeah.
And even my
No.
brother mentioned, like, when we were in Malaysia, he was like, that's because he has commitment issues. And I'm like, that's a classic trauma response because he didn't have a father to show him how to be a man, basically. And so he was remarking that it's noteworthy that even with our abandonment issues, that the sisters were able to find really stable marriages with really good guys. And
Yeah.
has lots of other examples where that is not the case. And I think it's because
Absolutely.
and again, it's not like we didn't make mistakes. It's not like we were choosing the right guy every time, but we were at least able to learn. We're smart people.
Yeah.
We can learn from our mistakes. We can be reflective. We know what the goal is. We want security and stability. We want love. We want commitment. And I think were able to navigate that because one, we are smart people and we learn. And then two, I think my mom was also a really strong person and was a really good model because she always
Yes.
respected herself. And for better or worse, she would never put up with bullshit. She'd rather be alone than put up with bullshit.
And I could say, having not spent a ton of time with your mom, but enough, you learn that about her very quick. She
Mhm.
comes off as very strong
Yeah.
and a no bullshit person.
No, no. Is she like the most sensitive person? No. Is she the most
No.
reflective person? No. But she is by far the strongest person that I know. And we can talk about when my Baba left and she was in a country that was not her native country, raising 4 young children by herself, how scary that would be. And I'll talk to her about it now. I'll ask her, like, how did you do that? And she says, I don't even know how I did that. Because this is my parents, my mom especially, grew up like upper middle class. And you come to the States and you start from the bottom, basically, as an immigrant.
Yeah.
And she was a journalist, and was an editor at a major news agency in Malaysia. And those skills, those credentials don't transfer. So she was working really weird jobs.
Yeah.
She was a hotel. She was cleaning hotel rooms for a little while. She would go to the newspaper and sort newspapers for delivery. She was a cashier at a grocery store. And then it wasn't until she became teller at a bank that she had lot more stability. But she was working weird jobs, weird hours, trying to keep things going for us. And that is lasting too. That is a lasting impression of an experience of being an immigrant and just working really hard and knowing that that work is going to lead you somewhere. And at least also my mom and both my baba and my mom were get educated, study hard, get good grades, go to college. These are their legacies. My baba came here for education. And honestly, if I'm being honest, the fact that I wanted to get my PhD and sort of complete that circle for him and for my family and our story was really important to me. I felt there was some loop that was being
Driving
closed for
force.
us. Yes, in our story. I always knew that I could do it. It was always something that I really wanted to do, and it was always a goal of mine. And much of that was because I wanted to do it for him, for us.
Yeah. An immigrant family coming to America.
Yeah. And there were all sorts of really crazy things that I only learned as an older person, that when my baba left, my mom had to marry the guy who was living in our basement so she could stay in the country.
I know there's things that you've told me and haven't told me. And most of the stories that you tell me, I've been like, no, that's not something I've ever heard before. Because a lot of the time you say it so nonchalantly. Yeah. And then there was that time that this college student moved in with us, and my mom went back to Malaysia, and he stayed with us for years, and he was our guardian. And I'm like, what? That's just a normal thing children go through. I'm like, nope, nope.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom had to marry the guy who was living
my
in our
mom married the
basement.
guy in the basement to have citizenship.
Yeah. Yeah. So she could stay in the country. Because I was a citizen, my little sister was a citizen, but the three of them, my sister, my brother, and my mom, my older ones, the older siblings, they weren't citizens. And my mom really wanted to stay in the US. And I asked my papa later, I'm like, what was the plan really? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think that eventually we were going to come back to Malaysia? Or did you think that at some point you were going to come back to the States? And you know what he told me? He said, there was no plan. Really a plan.
They were
Okay.
just flying by the seat of their pants.
They were just making it up as it was happening. They were just building the plane as they were trying to fly it. And that just is so crazy to me.
So does that mean has your mom been married 3 times then?
Yeah. I think officially my mom has been married 3 times. But these are the shenanigans that immigrants have to go through, right?
Totally, totally.
Right?
I'd be more willing to get married to an immigrant, just to give them citizenship, than I would to marry for love.
Yeah.
More willing. If anyone's out there, maybe a
Okay.
gay guy,
Could you?
persecuted in his own country, give me a call.
Yeah, Mindy's down. Anyone out there?
You
Wanting
know,
to stay?
just we can live in.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a guy, we were renting our basement I called him To Ali, uncle, my uncle. And
Yeah.
they were married for several years. And then I think my mom, I don't know when it happened. Maybe it was when my mom wanted to marry my stepdad. Then they had to get divorced on paper. But honestly, I don't know. I'm still piecing back the story for myself as well as a 43-year-old woman.
You're you need a timeline.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing, right? We can tie this back into immigration. My mom and my siblings and I do so much for this country. We do so much economically for this country. We've
Yeah.
all gotten educated. This is a story of this country. That's what this country is built on, is the contributions of many from many parts of the world.
Just like any business or corporation or billionaire that pretends like it was all them, it's many people, just like we built this country. There's a study that just came out. Do you see that? And how much immigrants contribute. And it's like a long-term study done by, the Cato Institute, because I know I was reading that it's not necessarily like some sort of liberal. Immigrants' recent effects on government budgets, 1994 to 2023. And they show how much immigrants contribute to this country, like in such a large year. Immigrants, let's see, generated nearly 10.6 trillion more in federal, state, and local taxes than they induced in total government spending. Accounting for savings on interest payments on the national debt, immigrants saved 14.5 trillion in debt over this 30-year period. It just goes on to show financially. But then, right, this is financial contributions in savings and contributing to the deficit and contributing to this country. Immigrants in all categories of education attainment, including high school dropouts, lowered the ratio of deficit to gross domestic product, GDP, during the 30-year period. It's every single place that they looked, they found that immigrants made it better by a lot.
Right.
And this just came out like February 3rd, 2026. Yeah, if you haven't looked at it, it's definitely,
I believe it. Look at every field, every profession. There are a lot of immigrants.
I
And
don't know how
oftentimes they're
people don't
doing the
think
work
about
that
that.
no one else wants to do.
I was just like, oh, what else does it say? I read part of it. I've seen a lot of it in different articles, but here's what anybody wanted some real evidence from a non-liberal source that spans many years, 30 years. Here it is. So you went to Malaysia. Your Baba told you some things, and then you were there when he died.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really powerful also. Just being there, giving him the gift of confessing or asking for forgiveness, and then feeling like it was a gift that I was really giving myself is like the healing that I've been wanting, or the recognition or the acknowledgement of that was really important to me. I don't think that I realized how important it was. And the fact that I was there with my siblings and we've had our differences, but we really came together in this time. And we were sharing stories and communicating honestly. There was a story my older sister told me that she'd not told anyone before about her experience growing up. And it was a really powerful, really connecting time for us. Like we were really there for each other. And then also helping each other fill in the gaps of that story. Because my older sister, she was 12 when he left, and she had a better memory about those things. And she also had a very different relationship with my Baba. She said that she was actually really scared of him, and because of like the belting and that sort of thing, she felt almost relief when he left. Whereas I was really little and I was really close to my Baba. Like everyone says that I was his favorite. But even if that were true, like that's not, he still left. It didn't like, really mean anything to me. But we were really close. I was his little girl. And it's even more confusing. And my older siblings were like, oh, we never really thought about it. That must have been really hard when he left and you were so little and you were so close. It must have been so confusing for you. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like total abandonment issues over here. And we talked about those lasting impacts and like unpacking those things as an adult and understanding that like trauma lives with you, and the examples and the relationships and the way those things impact you, how you see yourself, how you respond to things, how you move through the world, that is forever. And I can, at least now, you know, that I've been reflecting on these things, I can really see those impacts. And even in my own relationship, how that really has influenced me. Like Justin used to be like, it's funny because when I would go away on vacation or like with my friends or go on a surf trip or whatever, and I'd come back, you treat me like a complete stranger. And it was like, there was something in my brain that when he left, I thought, he's gone. I got to move on. Can't rely on him anymore. And he would come back and be like, why are you so cold? And I'm like, I don't know, but this is how I'm feeling. Like, I don't need you.
Just get out of here then.
Right? It's your relationships and your marriage.
And just thinking that if someone leaves, they're not coming back.
Right. Thinking back, that was always happening. It was always happening. And the fact that my mom, who's a very strong woman and doesn't put up with bullshit, and thank goodness for that, like in my brain, I'm like, I don't need him. I'm not going to put up with this bullshit. I'm out. That's like my first.
Yeah.
That's like my first instinct is I'm out.
But you stay.
But I threaten to leave.
Yeah.
And for a moment, I'm like, maybe I'm going to leave. But then overcome those wounded instincts. It's you're just speaking from these wounds.
Yeah.
And unless you're reflecting or thinking about them or doing the work to change those behaviors, like you're just going to be repeating the same cycle. And I always, as a parent, watching Ian grow up, I've realized that being a parent just means not putting your shit on your kids. Like not putting your baggage on your own children. Because we all have it.
Yeah.
But that is like the biggest thing you can do. The greatest gift you can give your children is to not put your baggage on them.
If you'd like drop Ian off at school and you're like, we'll see if you come home. Maybe I'll be there.
Or even if I had to leave, I went to Malaysia and I'm like, I'm going to Malaysia. I'll be back in this many days. This is why I'm going. Right. And he's like, okay. Right? Like he's like such a secure kid. He knows I'll be back. He knows that I love his dad. Even if we get into an argument, like we love each other.
He trusts you guys.
There's so much trust. And I think there wasn't that component as a child growing up.
No.
Like I trusted my mom for sure. Like I trust my mom with everything, but I've learned from some of her wounds that have now become my wounds.
Yeah.
Like her fierce
And they're hard.
independence. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are hard to overcome.
And then also to bring that into a relationship is really hard too. And now you're trying to work through your baggage with another person who also has baggage and
Yeah.
trying to make it work and communicate in a way that isn't triggering for each other or disrespectful or invalidating or whatever. It's really hard work. And I'm just learning so much more about my own relationship and my own marriage, like having revisited these with my own parents and then having these conversations with my baba, because I don't have conversations with my baba. And I've only just begun having these conversations with my mom. But anyway, so we were all there and we didn't know if Shazana was going to make it in time because he was starting to deteriorate again. But my little sister made it and we saw him on a Monday and we were going to leave his town on a Thursday. But we were spending all those days with them and with my half brothers. And my half brother, the second one, has 3 kids, and they were just a joy. And that was really sweet to get to know them and to play with them, and because they're my nieces and nephew. And even the eldest one wanted to hang out with us. We went to the night market, and she wanted to ride with us and go to the market with us. And I was like, wow, that's so sweet that she wants to spend time with us. And my brother was like, because she knows that we're family. And I'm like, she does know that we're family. And that was a really special realization, is that I have our family.
Yeah.
And she even looks like me, which is crazy. So I'm like, oh, like the connections are so strong. Even if the relationship isn't there, like the genetics are just so strong. Like it's undeniable. So that was wild in itself. And then on a Wednesday, my Baba was doing really badly. And we were just like hanging out in the living room. And we all went into the bedroom because I think someone was telling us that he was having a hard time breathing. And he was gasping for breath. And it started pouring down rain, like out of nowhere. It was just pouring down rain in the moments that he was taking his last breaths. And me and the three of my siblings, and then two of his boys, were there. He was surrounded by his children, minus one, and his wife when he passed. And we were all there and we were holding his hand and holding on to him and telling him, it's okay. Don't be scared. You can go. We're here. We love you. And those are the last words that he heard, which I think is so lucky for any person. He's a very lucky man that he got to have all of his kids, even if not all of them present, there with him to say goodbye, to give him a really beautiful send off to whatever comes next. And I think he was ready to go. He'd seen all of us. He knew that we were leaving the next day, and he was like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I don't think he was scared. I think he was just full of love. Because he had said in the hospital, he was really scared. He's like, I was so scared. I was so scared of the hospital. And when we were all there, we were like, don't be scared. We're here. You can let go. And he did. And then when he passed, it stopped raining. It was so wild. It was just so powerful. I was like, is this actually happening? Like when it was like pouring down rain, like loud, like torrential downpour, like hearing it on the roof and on the pavement outside. And it just cleared up like after he passed. It was nuts.
It's like such a special moment.
It was a gift. It was
Yeah.
a beautiful gift. And he's a lucky man. And I was reflecting on it, and I'm like, he's also lucky that my mom raised 4 really good kids, with good values, that we wanted to do that. We wanted to give him that gift. And in giving that gift, we gave it to ourselves and gave ourselves healing and gave ourselves connection to this other part of our family. And none of us were like prepared for that. We were like, okay, because in Islam, they have to be buried within 24 hours. So then things happened like very quickly after that. And we weren't like dressed appropriately. So my stepmom called a friend who has daughters and had her bring clothes for us to wear because people were already starting to come to the house to pay their respects. And the funeral was going to be the next day. And so we were like wearing our Western clothes, and they were like, you need to change. And we put on all the clothes, and the clothes fit perfectly. Like all of the clothes fit. And then we stayed because then people come and they wash the body, and then they wrap the body, and then they put the body on display. Like people are coming in and sitting and chatting and eating. They're community members. They're like chairs outside to see the whole process. Like it was a very community practice. Like everyone could be a part of it if they'd wanted to. Not with the washing, but
Yeah.
like they're there witnessing, if not participating, right? And then we go home, or we go back to the hotel, and then the next day we're at the house. They take the body to the mosque. We pray over him, and then we take him to the cemetery, and it all happens so fast. In Islam, the body has to be placed on the earth. And then it had rained, right? So when they were digging the grave, there was like so much water. There were like several feet of water in the grave. And so they had to take mud and then put it under my Baba's body in the casket so that he would be resting on earth, on the earth. And I've never seen a dead body before. I've never been to a funeral. I've never been to a funeral of a family member, let alone my own father. And I've never seen an Islamic burial. So this was all very new to me and like pretty eye opening and special. And I'm able to do it with my siblings, which makes it really an important moment for us. Like it was a really special time, even if it was very fast. Like some of his family came, like aunts and an aunt and an uncle that I don't really know, have maybe met before, and some of their kids. So like cousins that I've never met. Like it was like a big family event. And then afterwards, like you go to the house and you're eating and you're talking, and it was like being around family. Like
Yeah.
people I've never known and never met or may have met, but like a long time ago that I don't remember. It was just, it felt very easy. It felt like I could have known them my whole lives. It was just like that simple. We are there, even if there's no relationship. Like it was, and they're good people and they're sweet people. And it was like, it was a really positive experience. It's like a really heartwarming experience for us. It was a really sweet, it was a really sweet time. Like I'll remember that event really warmly.
What I hope most people get to go through.
I really hope so too. I know that most
Yeah.
people don't, and it's,
A lot of people do, but yeah, you got to experience really how beautiful death can be.
yeah. And I didn't expect to experience how beautiful that can be. I think a lot of people do get to have their family around them when they pass, but a lot of people don't. I was thinking back to
No.
Alicia when
Yeah.
it's sudden and unexpected, or we don't live in Malaysia. My mom has missed the death of both of her parents because
Yeah.
she wasn't able to get there in time. And that's just a risk that you take when you are far away.
Yeah. It's really cathartic, I feel, to be able to say goodbye to somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. And again, I didn't know that I needed to say goodbye. And I wouldn't have realized it if I'd chosen not to go. But it was like
Yeah.
it was just such a beautiful experience. Like death can be like that.
You can see why I push it
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
No, that's an impactful, that was, that's going to stay with me forever. And you went through it. Your father had the luxury of having his family with him in his last
And
moment.
and it's what yeah, and it's what hospice is for.
Mhm.
We know how important it is and we know how beautiful it can be. And more people can have that experience. I think a lot of people don't know that experience is out there.
Yeah.
And that's like why I think it's important to share these stories. It's important to talk about it. It's important to talk to loved ones about how do you want to die. I don't think it's ever too early to start talking about it. Sometimes it's hard, but as you can see, it's an experience that can be really beautiful and sad and heartbreaking for some, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're called death doulas. Have you heard of that?
Uh-huh.
I might have brought it up. Yeah. I think that it's great to have someone that kind of knows what's going to happen or what's going on or
And we thank goodness for hospice and death doulas and these types of services, cuz your average person doesn't know how this unfolds and they don't know how to read the signs. And thankfully I had you to communicate with, and also Justin's mom was a hospice nurse. And so when I told her, like, he's not eating and he's not
yeah.
drinking, and she was like, some people associate eating with health, and sometimes the person who's dying wants to eat because there's pressure to eat, but you're just supposed to read the signs. And I
Yeah.
like everyone, he wasn't eating and it was here and there. And there was like concern about it. And everyone was like, he just needs to eat. He just needs to eat. And it's like a person that knows death or has been through that experience can tell you what's happening because
Well,
you're
it's
not
hard
necessarily reading the signs. You don't have that skill set.
and it's hard to wrap your head around. It's like you have to completely shift your whole perspective about life because now it's death. So, what does someone need in dying and in death? Whatever they need to be comfortable. They don't need food
Hmm.
and they don't need water because they're actively dying
Right. Like
at that
their systems are
or
like
shutting down.
shutting down.
Right.
And then after
And
Linda said,
you're not trying to prolong their life, which is
right.
all medical, right? We have to prolong their life. But when you just let somebody go,
Hmm.
then it's just about how can we make them the most comfortable
Yeah.
that they can be and
Hmm.
how can we
Yeah.
support them
Yeah.
in that. And that's just so hard to wrap your head around because I feel like you really have to like completely change your thinking.
Yeah. And when Linda said that, I was like, I just need to accept that this is what's happening and this is a natural thing to happen. And
Yeah.
because this person is going soon, like the expectation of them eating or drinking or taking their medicines, you have to put that aside. That goes out the window. That's not a reasonable
Right.
expectation at this point. And yeah. And that was really, I could tell that was really hard for my stepmom and
Yeah.
my half brother. And they were like, he's not
Yeah.
eating. He's not like, what do you want? What do you want to eat? Like, it was just this thing like, let's go get him.
Yeah.
Let's go get him. He said he wants a Burger King hamburger or something. I want fries and I want this. And I think he was just saying that, right? Like at one point
And
he
like
asked for
the
fish
other,
and chips.
yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's go get him some fish and chips. My brother's like, let's get him fish and chips. And we're like, okay, I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to be able to eat fish and chips. Sure enough, he didn't eat those fish and chips.
No, I mean, the other thing I think people don't realize too is once you can just let that go, like
Hmm.
once, I think in my experience, I understood what was happening. And so I understood. But other people, he needs this, he needs that. And it was a lot of, does he? Okay.
Hmm.
Then go get it. Cause it's a lot of like, he needs this, you should do that for him,
Hmm.
maybe. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here right now. He's just trying to die, guys. But once you can kind of accept that, it's
Hmm.
like, I feel like it gives you can be more present and you can kind
Yeah.
of let go of the anxiety of like, he needs this, he needs that, because
Hmm.
it's like, it's part of, I'm sure, the grief process of just accepting that this person is going to die. And once you can kind of accept that and give up all the things that you thought, it's almost like a relief and an ability to just be in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it would have been great to have someone there that had been through that with us,
Yeah.
to talk us through that,
Yeah.
to explain things. Like
Yeah.
I had you, I had Linda, and I was like, no, we shouldn't do that. Or I feel like this is getting to the end. Even that Wednesday, his bowels were clearing.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, he pooped out of nowhere. Like he has a a colostomy bag. Nothing is attached down there. But I was like,
Yeah.
his body is expelling
Yeah.
the whatever's left in that system. Like his body is like closing up shop.
Yeah.
There's no
And
there's
people
no
can
more
find
functioning
hope.
there.
No, people will find hope in anything. You're like, oh, he had a bite
Uh-huh.
or that happened. You're like, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
This is still going to happen. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
I'm
very
glad that you,
good.
I'm glad that you were able to go and able to get there and able to like have such a wonderful, loving
Mhm.
experience
Yeah.
and get really probably some great things for you in the future of just being able to work out all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I am too. I'm really glad that I left early because I was like, I don't know if I should change my flight, but I'm glad that I was able to talk to him when he was still able to have
Yeah.
conversation. That was
Yeah.
huge. And that was what I wanted. Like being with him in his last moments would have been powerful in itself, but I really wanted him to get to know me. And I really wanted to to almost get to know him.
Yeah.
You know what also I realized about my parents is that they were very compatible. Do you ever think that about your parents? Oh yeah, like they like the same things or they would have had a lot of fun together.
I do think that later, I
Yeah.
think my parents were too young. I don't know if your parents were too, but
They were young, yeah.
yeah, as adults, I'm like, you guys would totally hit it off if you didn't hate each other.
Because I remember thinking that, Mindy, because I met your mom in Morocco and I met your dad separately in Morocco. And I'm like, they're
Yeah.
very fun and they are very like similar in a lot of ways. And I'm like, I'm surprised that they don't get along. And I guess there's a lot of history, there's a lot of stuff there. But I talking to my baba, he like loves sport.
Mm.
My mom loves sports. They love like Penn State football. Like my mom will watch any sport.
Yeah.
And he flat out I asked him, I was like, "How did you meet mommy?" And he basically said, "We were so in love." I don't know if he said love. He said we were very compatible. And I know that there was a lot of love there because my cousin commented one time, like, why didn't they stay together? They were so, like, it seemed like they were so solid.
It's so weird. You just never know. I can say, I think that both my parents needed to grow up. But yeah, you're right. Like, even my high school friends were like, they get back together later in life, but they just couldn't let go
Sure.
of mostly my dad, of like the hurt feelings. They could, I think if they were able to, then yeah, as adults,
Or
they
they at
were
least have
like
a friendship.
much more compatible. Yeah. Like my mom was, I don't know, 19 or something, I think, when she
Oh,
got married.
wow,
Had my
that's
brothers.
really young.
Yeah, she's really young.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my mom
And
was
my
like
dad
mid.
was a little, yeah. So both of them had a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah. And I think also your life takes twists and turns, and you have to be able to communicate through those twists and turns. Like chemistry, compatibility can only get you so far. Like you have to have the
Totally.
skills to make a relationship work. And that was a big takeaway
Yeah.
for me because I don't
Yeah.
remember my parents together. Maybe I have one memory of my dad giving my mom a kiss. And I don't know how old I must have been, 4 or 5. And I'm like, ooh. And there's
Yeah.
zero communication. There was no contact. He
Yeah.
left. And I
Zero.
swear there must have been like a handful of conversations. I don't know that for sure, but it just
Well,
didn't
and he
seem
didn't.
like,
And he like, yeah, you think that I'm like, wait, he left because he had to, but your mom stayed. It wasn't like they broke up at that moment.
no.
He just had to go back, but your mom didn't want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at one point, my dad got lonely and then wanted to get married again. And my mom said, "You're going to
Yeah.
have to divorce me." And then nothing. There must have been some communication, but there wasn't closure. There wasn't like a resolution because they didn't have a plan, also.
That's
So there's that. There's also that.
my therapist, JD. That's always his like communication is the bit he had his 12
Mhm.
things of like compatibility and what makes relationships work. And we was always talking about communication. That's always. And I remember as a young person, I was like, whatever, it's chemistry. But now it's no, it's communication.
It's communication. Chemistry can only get you so far.
No, chemistry doesn't last either.
Yeah. No, that's
It often the way you feel about someone right away, like, I just remember the way that I felt about Brandon in those first, like, year or months. It
Mhm.
doesn't keep going. It doesn't keep lasting
No.
if there's no communication.
Yeah. No. There's a skill set that you have to learn and tools that you have to keep a marriage going. Communication is not my parents' strong suit. Not a strength. Not a strength. And
But still not really a strength either.
not really a strength to this day. And I'm just so, it really just drives everything home. Everything we've been talking about, like relationships and trauma and all these things, like all the tools you can have a partner that you love and loves you. And it seems like you have a lot in common and it seems so solid, but you need to have all the auxiliary like equipment to keep that going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
communication
This is
definitely is
JD
like
always
crucial.
communication is huge, crucial. JD always said it's like a toolbox. And
Mhm.
so I've always thought of it like that way. And you need different tools for different things. And then you need new tools for
Mhm.
new projects.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you don't need a tool anymore because it
Mhm.
doesn't suit. You're never using it and it's not benefiting you in any way. So you have to get rid of the tool. And I just always visualize this because I learned this at a very young age. Oh, I just put a new tool in my toolbox.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
I don't need that tool anymore. I'll go ahead and get rid of it. I never use it and it doesn't benefit me. And that everybody has different tools
Mhm.
in their tool. Like our toolboxes are all very different and we have
Agreed.
different tools in them. And like sometimes our tools are not very compatible with each other
And that's when you need to get new tools.
too. Or yeah, you need to get new tools. Maybe you need to borrow one of your
Mhm.
partner's tools for a little while. It's an analogy I could always relate to.
I think it's a really good analogy. It's a very good analogy
Yeah.
and it was really good to see it. My parents really loved each other or they were really compatible at some point, and then with the wrong tools or with a lack of tools, it just wasn't able to function.
The house fell apart.
Did. Yeah, it did. And so that's an
Like the
analogy that
toilet
I
got
will.
plugged.
Yeah, yeah. The roof is
The sink's
leaking.
leaking. The stove doesn't light anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The foundation is sinking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a big takeaway for me. Honestly, from everything that he said and like just hearing the things that he likes to do, I'm like, huh, you guys are so compatible. That's exactly what my mom likes to do. Likes to watch
Yeah.
sports. I guess that's it, really. What I don't know if you can build I don't know if you can build a marriage around like watching sports, but it's like a big part of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And to this day, like it's a part of your life. It's a part of if that's how you grow up.
Yeah. It's just funny. Like on one of the days that I was with my baba by myself, I told him Penn State won their bowl game and I showed him highlights on YouTube and he loved it. He like wanted to watch more. And we're like, okay, let's see other highlights from other games. My parents watching
Sure.
a Penn State football game together and just like loving it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just seems like such a gosh, what a waste.
Oh,
But life
yeah.
is tricky like that, right?
Life is tricky. And who knows who you would be if it had been any different.
No, it's true. Like I can't imagine anything happening differently. I just think it's a lesson, and it's a good lesson that marriage is hard and it can feel like so easy and you can feel like so on with another person. But if you're not constantly investing in that relationship, it won't work.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have a positive, good relationship
Correct.
where both parties are benefiting.
Absolutely.
All right.
But that's it. And we've been talking
You
a
right.
lot.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
catching up, Minders.
thanks for sharing and sharing your experience.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, I like talking
Yeah.
about it. It's true. I think we need to talk about these experiences more.
Yeah.
It's not something
Communicating.
it's not scary. Yeah, it's communicating. It's not scary. It can be beautiful. It can be healing. It can bring people together.
Yeah. I think it says, even though you have all your history with your father and all the things that maybe bad choices he made when you were a kid, in the end, I do think it says something about the person when they die, about who's there and how they go.
It's true.
And that's like a nice way to remember people too, because I think about my dad and I'm like, he was so loved.
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect, but he was loved.
Yeah. He was loved. And my Baba was loved. And I could see that. And he raised his boys are good boys. He raised 3 really great boys. And even if we didn't get the benefit of that, I can see how good of a person he was in the caliber of his sons.
All right. This has
Let's
been
close it
another
out.
episode. Let's close it out. This has been another episode of She the People. Get out there. Something. I really feel action just makes me feel better, even if it's so small. Just a small thing. Making a call. Because we're really fighting for the country we want and doing this. Like, we can't just end. I feel like we have to fight for what we want. And like just having this conversation today, that's the experience that I hope for anyone that can have it. And we need things like hospice and palliative care and death doulas, and to invest in people in every form of their life and every moment of their life. We need to be investing in each other and investing in people. And so whatever actions we can take now, we just don't stop. We keep doing it so that we build the country and the world that we want to live in. So take a small action and stay strong,
Stay grounded.
and keep up the fight.
Keep up
And
the
leave
fight.
us a 5-star review. Okay? Share with friends.
Thanks, Mindy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Dita.
All right. Love
Love
you.
you.
Bye.